Welcome back to Let's Talk Small. I'm Megan,
And I'm Sean.
and today we're going to actually talk about the last in our three-part series of when and why you need to hire a business consultant. So, the when today is when you are looking to grow.
Yes, and growth can mean a lot of things. Sometimes you're maybe looking to move to a new location. Sometimes you're looking to expand your product offerings. Those are just two examples. It could be, like I said, any number of things that could mean growth. And growing your business can be a very daunting task. It can be obviously very exciting. It's what we want as a business. You want your business to grow and to thrive. And sometimes you need a little help to move it along to the next stage.
And honestly, just when you talk about growth being a variety of things, sometimes it's simply growing your strategy, growing what you're able to do. And I actually have a client right now that I've been working with it's been a year. And it's kind of funny how, as a business consultant, sometimes we will throw out ideas at the beginning that people just aren't ready for. And it's okay, that's fine. You have to take things as your business is, growing and adapting. But where she was when we met a year ago, some of the things that I recommended now, I recommended then, and it's funny because you can almost tell from our conversations now that she just wasn't even listening then. And that's okay, because she wasn't ready for it. But now she's looking to grow, not just grow her practice, but also to grow her marketing. And it's a huge step when you get to that point. It is a huge step because there are several things that you have to consider in order to get to that next point. And so why you want to get a business consultant involved is exactly what we've talked about, is that sometimes you need to actually find out, one, if it's feasible. Is growth feasible at this time? I can tell you that from the client that I'm dealing with right now, it probably was not as feasible for her at the beginning as it is now.
Right. Like your businesses change and grow naturally over time too. And as much as your client wasn't ready to hear it, her business wasn't ready to accept what we're offering now. Wasn't ready to. The steps we're taking would not have worked the same a year ago as they would now, because the business has changed. It's grown on its own, and we're helping move it to the next stage.
Right. And not to mention that for some of the things that you might be looking to grow. So in our last video, we talked about employees, that you want to add an employee. Well, discovering whether it's even feasible for you to do that is important. So if you were to say, hey, I'm looking to expand and I need employees, there are things like, again, legal requirements that you have to look into. There are costs that you have to look into, that when you actually sit with somebody who tells you everything that's involved in that, you might determine it's not actually feasible at this time. So growth is one of those things where you always have to check the feasibility of it. And sometimes, in most cases actually, that requires an outside perspective to help you identify that.
Yes.
And the second part is honestly that you need to know what you need in order to grow.
Right. Like if you're looking to expand your product line, what do you need to actually do that? What do you, not just physically what do you need to make new products, but how are you going to market this new product line? How are you going to be competitive with this new product line? Because again, we're not talking about reinventing the wheel. Your competitors are probably doing something similar, so you need to look at them and say, how can I compete with them with this new product? How can I do it better than they're doing it?
Right. And then even taking it back to even the basics of what you're going to need as far as materials, labor, things like that. I had a client once who worked, they were a food bar company, and they cater to, they're a food bar manufacturer, and they cater to smaller businesses who were trying to get their own food bar products out and about, and they wanted to offer it to a new market. They were located in one city, and they offered the service to surrounding businesses in that city, but they wanted to offer it in another state. Well, what did they need to do that? They could not take on that many at their current facility, so they had to look into what was involved in getting a new facility. They had to actually identify everything that they were going to need in order to be able to offer that service to a new market. And that can apply to any business, really. Sometimes when you provide a service to one state or one city or one region, you might actually need more resources in order to do it further out. Even if you are a business with lower overhead, it might actually cost you might have to actually add some funds there to offer a service or a product somewhere else. So you really, again, need to have somebody who can look at things with an outside perspective and let you know what you're going to need, because chances are what you needed or what you did in the beginning stages won't always apply to the next stage of your business.
Right.
So getting that perspective there. And then honestly, general planning. You know, one of the things that's changed a lot, and one of the things that we're very big advocates of, is a modern business plan. Okay. So when I talk about a modern business plan, and if you've heard our podcast before, you already know what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about one that doesn't plan for really more than a year out. If you look at the old school traditional business plans and any sort of template you would find online, they're going to say, what's your 3-year, what's your 5-year? That's not reasonable anymore. That's just not reasonable anymore. So you plan basically for the phase that you're in. And usually that is no more than 3 to 6 months at a time, because the markets change, technology changes, things change so fast. You can't feasibly predict much more than that these days, especially as a new business, because you kind of have to keep agile and you have to be adaptable. So you need somebody who's going to help you plan that next phase of your business, plan that next section, and decide where you're going to go, where you want to go. A lot of times people don't even really start thinking about the overall goals that they have or for their business until they're at the point where they realize they can grow or that they want to grow. Sometimes people start businesses just on a whim, you know, and then they're surprised when it's actually successful and they're like, oh, right, I want to do more with this.
Right.
So it's important to really get somebody outside to help you make some sort of a plan, whether it's a short-term plan or or a longer-term plan for that next cycle in your business. And then to also just plan out your strategy. Strategy is everything to me. I'm not so keen on, documenting this is where I want to be in 6 months. I'm more keen on saying this is how I want to get somewhere and how I want to do it, because that how, if you don't have that how, it's really hard to get to the destination.
And having somebody come in with an outside view of it can look at it from different angles that you may not be normally seeing. There's a lot of small businesses that have been around for a bit get caught in the "this is how we've always done it" mindset of things, and in a lot of ways that doesn't promote growth. Because if this is how you've always done it, then you would have grown already. And that mindset traps small businesses. And so by having a consultant come in and look at processes and look at your goal and help you strategize how to get there, they may see it from a different angle and see a better way to get to what you want to do than you maybe wouldn't have considered or even seen. That's
right. And it's just people always undervalue they always undervalue the value of outside opinions. I mean, think about it this way: when you make personal choices, what do you do? What is your process for that? It's not usually, we always see people in like movies and shows. They're like, oh, let me make my pros and cons list. I don't really know anybody that does that. And if you are someone that does that, good. I'm not. And I don't know anybody that does it. You're weird. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's honestly, if you actually do that, then seriously, that's pretty awesome. But most of us, we look to people we trust. We look to our friends. We look to family members. We look for people to give their input. And that's exactly what a business consultant does. For all of these things that we've talked about over these last couple of podcasts and videos, that's exactly what a business consultant is. They are somebody who you are supposed to, well, who we hope you trust, and who can give you insight into how to move your business forward. Okay, it's not weakness to seek advice. It's not. It's actually a sign that you're ready to commit to something. And I will tell you that as a business consultant, I kind of judge you just as much as you judge me, and that might sound wrong, but as a business consultant, I don't want to work with somebody who isn't ready to commit, who isn't ready to put into their business. For us, it's a process too. We actually get very invested in the businesses that we work with and the business owners themselves.
Yep.
Most of our clients are long-term clients, so they're people that we've worked with. I have a client who I've worked with for 3 years. I actually have a client who I worked with 5 years ago that came back to me this year. So these are long-term investments, and if you don't want to really work with a business consultant that's not willing to invest that time in you, and we don't want to work with somebody who's not willing to invest that time in themselves.
Right. We're not here to be yes people. We're not here to tell you what you want to hear. We're here to tell you what you need to hear.
Exactly.
And sometimes you may not like that, but it's what you need to hear to actually achieve your goals.
Right. And honesty is a huge part of this process too. Honesty, again, looking at the 3 stages that we talked about, getting your business started, being honest about that, being honest as to whether or not you really want to start a business. When we talk about looking to hire an employee, being honest. Are you actually willing to commit to somebody? And then looking to grow, honesty. Are you willing to put what's needed into growing? And honestly, are you ready? Are you ready to grow? And so honesty on both sides of it. You need to be honest with yourself, but you also have to understand that a good business consultant is going to be honest with you and help you explore the answers to these questions honestly. And if the answer is no, if you're not ready, if you're not really someone to get started, or someone who should start a business, then we'll tell you. And honestly, that's what you want. So anyway, guys, we really appreciate you watching this 3-part series, and we are so excited. If you're new to our channel, we hope that you stick with us. We hope you like these videos. Next week, we will actually start diving into e-commerce sites and whether or not they're worth it. It's kind of a big thing right now.
It is.
You know, it's been a big thing for a while, but I've seen a trend as to more people wanting to get into it and understanding kind of what can be done with it. So we're going to talk a little bit about exploring the value of e-commerce sites and how we can, either how we can help guide you through that process if you're interested, or how we can just give you some tips that'll help make it stronger. Anyway, till next time, guys, thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon. Hey guys, thanks for watching our video. If you liked it, you know what to do down below. Be sure to check out our blog at smallandone.solutions.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Small and One Solutions, or check out our podcast on wherever you get your podcast at Let's Talk Small. Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you again soon.